In the quiet moments of life, we're invited to pause and reflect. These gentle pauses are rare gifts, offering us a chance to step away from the noise and busyness that so often fill our days. In these still spaces, we can truly listen to our hearts, to our thoughts, and perhaps even to a deeper wisdom that whispers beneath the surface. The prophet Haggai says, "Give careful thought to your ways." His words are an invitation to slow down and look honestly at the direction of our lives, to consider not just what we do, but why we do it. This isn't about self-criticism, but about examining the patterns of our days and the true center of our lives. It's a gentle encouragement to notice what truly matters, and to ask ourselves if we're living in alignment with our deepest values. Are we simply busy, or are we living with purpose? Are our days filled with meaningful moments, or just endless tasks? Busyness can distract us, leaving our hearts empty. We can move quickly from one thing to the next, but still feel a sense of restlessness inside. Haggai's call is to look deeper, beyond our activities, to the foundation we're building on. What are we constructing with our time and energy? Is it something lasting or something that will fade away? Are our efforts leading to lasting fulfillment or just passing the time? Are we investing in what will endure or simply filling the hours? An aligned life isn't free from difficulty, but it's filled with meaning when our actions match our deepest convictions. Even in the midst of challenges, there's a sense of direction and peace that comes from living authentically. This brings a peace that busyness can't offer. It's a quiet assurance that we're on the right path, even when life feels uncertain. Haggai's invitation is timeless. Step back from the rush and give careful thought to your ways. Let yourself be still and listen for what truly matters. Are we running on a treadmill or walking a path of true purpose? Are we moving forward or just moving? The question isn't to condemn, but to gently redirect. It's a compassionate invitation to realign, to choose again what matters most. It's a chance to recalibrate and find our true north, a quiet invitation to begin again, with intention and hope. Haggai's message arrived at a time of deep uncertainty, speaking to people who had just returned from exile. They stood among the ruins of Jerusalem, surrounded by memories of what once was, and faced the daunting task of rebuilding a shattered city and a destroyed temple. With hope in their hearts, they began the work, laying new stones and dreaming of restoration. But as days passed, their enthusiasm faded, and the rebuilding soon came to a halt. Opposition from neighbors, a lack of resources, and the weight of personal struggles made them pause. The challenges felt overwhelming, and so they postponed God's work, telling themselves it was only temporary. The time has not yet come, they repeated, convincing themselves that waiting was wise. On the surface, their reasoning seemed practical, even responsible. But beneath it all, the true cost of delay was quietly growing. As they turned their attention to their own homes and comfort, a subtle dissatisfaction began to take root in their lives. Their hard work brought little satisfaction, their harvests were meager, and their spiritual center, the temple, remained neglected and silent. The ruined temple stood as a silent witness, a reminder of misplaced priorities and dreams deferred. Their story is not so different from our own. We too often postpone what truly matters, waiting for a better time that always seems just out of reach. We tell ourselves that we'll focus on faith, service, or worship when life finally settles down, when the chaos quiets and the path is clear. Yet, that perfect moment rarely arrives. Life's demands keep coming, and the weight of postponement grows heavier with each passing day. The burden of delay quietly shapes our days, making it harder to return to what matters most. Good intentions are easily swept aside by the pressures and distractions of daily life. The people in Haggai's time weren't wicked or rebellious, they were simply weary, overwhelmed, and distracted by survival. The lesson is clear: postponing what matters most leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. The right time to realign our priorities, to return to what truly matters, is not someday in the future, it is now. Into this atmosphere, God asks through Haggai, "Is it time for you to live in your paneled houses while this house remains a ruin?" The question isn't to shame, but to prompt reflection. Their homes were finished and comfortable, God's house was abandoned. The contrast reveals their priorities: personal comfort over spiritual commitment. The state of the temple mirrored the state of their hearts. They'd forgotten their identity was tied to faithfulness. God's question isn't about buildings, but allegiance. Today, our paneled houses might be careers or ambitions, the ruined house, our neglected spiritual life. Where do we invest our best energy? The question is a gentle prompt. Is there a disconnect between our care for ourselves and our care for our relationship with God? It's an invitation to honest self-inventory. God, through Haggai, urges, give careful thought to your ways. This is not just a call to pause but an invitation to examine the direction of our lives, to look honestly at what we are pursuing and why. He describes their reality. You plant much, but harvest little. Despite all their effort, the results are disappointing, leaving them wondering why their work feels so fruitless. You eat, but never have enough. Even the basics of life seem to slip through their fingers, never quite satisfying their hunger or their hearts. You earn wages, only to put them in a purse with holes. Their resources vanish as quickly as they come, leaving them feeling empty-handed and weary. Their hard work brought little satisfaction. The more they toiled, the more elusive contentment became, as if true reward was always just out of reach. The problem wasn't effort, but misaligned priorities. They were busy but not purposeful, active but not aligned with what truly mattered. The image of a purse with holes captures the futility of striving without purpose. It's a vivid picture of energy spent with nothing lasting to show for it. When we neglect what matters most, our labor feels empty. We can be surrounded by activity, yet feel a deep sense of lack within. God isn't punishing them. He's revealing a natural consequence. Their struggles are a signpost, pointing them back to what they've forgotten. Their struggles had a spiritual root. The emptiness they felt was not just physical, but a reflection of a deeper spiritual hunger. The solution wasn't to work harder, but to realign their hearts. True change begins not with our hands, but with our focus and intention. God's call to reflection is an act of mercy, showing the path forward. He invites us to pause, reconsider, and return to what is truly important. He connects their frustration to their misplaced focus. Their dissatisfaction is not random, but a gentle nudge to look deeper. The answer isn't more busyness, but a reordered life. When our priorities are right, even simple tasks become meaningful. True fulfillment comes from building on the right foundation, a life aligned with purpose, rooted in what matters most. After reflection, God's message shifts to action. Go up into the mountains, bring down timber, and build my house. The call is practical. Use what you have, start now. Obedience is the solution to emptiness. The instructions are clear: go, bring, build. No need to wait for perfect conditions. The work requires effort and cooperation. The focus shifts from personal comfort to God's house. The purpose, so that I may take pleasure in it and be honored. God desires willing hearts, not grand gestures. Building the temple is an outward sign of inward change. Reflection must lead to action. True change happens when understanding moves us to respond. God calls us to practical steps: serving, giving, reconnecting. The task matters less than the obedient spirit. Faith is a verb, expressed in what we do. The people's response marks a turning point. Leaders and people alike obeyed God's voice. They didn't argue or delay, they acted. Their obedience was rooted in reverence, not fear. Leaders led by example, uniting the community. Reflection prepared their hearts for action. In response, God promises, "I am with you." Not a promise of ease, but of presence. The work became a partnership with God. Their obedience unlocked His assurance. They didn't wait to feel God's presence, they acted and found Him with them. Faith often means stepping out before we see results. In obedience, they experienced God's nearness. The key to renewal was their willingness to act. God's presence transformed their work from burden to blessing. With God's assurance, a new spirit fills the people. God stirs their hearts, giving them energy and will. Weariness is replaced by holy zeal. The task that once seemed impossible now feels possible. Within weeks, they begin rebuilding the temple. Once their hearts aligned, excuses faded. The real obstacle was never resources, but priorities. The work itself becomes worship. Every effort is a testament to renewed commitment. They're not just building a structure, they're rebuilding their relationship with God. God provides strength for His purposes. The blessing is found in the process. not just the result. The joy is in the building, together, with God present. Haggai's story moves from distraction to restoration. The lesson: when God is first, everything else finds its place. Their emptiness was a symptom of disordered priorities. The cure was not more effort, but a new focus. Haggai's tone is gentle, inviting, not condemning. He guides them to see the truth and offers a gracious way forward. God cares more about our hearts than our buildings. The temple mattered because it symbolized God's place in their lives. Obedience was the bridge from neglect to blessing. This principle is timeless. Seek first his kingdom, and all these things will be given to you. Judah sought all these things first and found emptiness. When they put God first, they found fulfillment. The promise isn't ease, but meaning, and God's presence in the journey. Haggai's message ends not with fanfare, but with the quiet sound of work beginning. The invitation remains open for us today. If you feel dissatisfied or misaligned, pause and reflect. The call is to honest self-examination. Where is your energy going? The solution is simple. Start where you are, with what you have. The first step of obedience realigns your path and invites God's presence. I am with you is a promise for the obedient, not the perfect. Profound change begins with a whisper, not a bang. Have the courage to pause, listen, and respond to God's gentle voice. Give careful thought to your ways.